Good evening, children. Good evening, children. Today I am going to continue the chapter Nazism and the Rise of Hitler. Today will be the last day of this chapter. Today we will finish off this, and then on one day in the next week, first class, we will be having a open class for the chapter Nazism and the Rise of Hitler, and then be ready for the test, because I will be making nearly 40 questions MCQ. Nearly 40 MCQs would be there. Now, let's come to the chapter. Now, the outline of the chapter is, we have introduction, the Weimar Republic, the Great Depression, Hitler's rise to power, the Nazi worldview, youth in Nazi Germany, and reactions of ordinary people to Nazi crimes. These are the topics which we have to look after. Now, before that, I would like to give you a brief introduction. In short, Hitler was horrified by the defeat of Germany in the First World War and was furious with the Treaty of Versailles in 1919. He joined a small group called the German Workers' Party and later took over its organization and named it as National Socialist German Workers' Party, which came to be referred as the Nazi Party. Now, let's talk. The topic for today is, what we are going to study is the mother's role in Nazi Germany, or we can say the Nazi cult of motherhood. Now, let's talk in short. Children in Nazi Germany were repeatedly told that women were radically different from man. The following points help in understanding the position of women in the Nazi society. Now, वहाँ पे देखो किस तरह की शिक्षा बच्चों को दी जाती थी. Boys were taught to be aggressive, masculine and steel-hearted, while girls were told that they had to become good mothers and rear pure-blooded Aryan children. It means that the mother has to become very good mothers, and they should be giving birth to pure-blooded Aryan children. Second point is, girls had to maintain purity of the race, distance themselves from the Jews. The females should keep themselves away from the Jews, look after the home and teach their children Nazi values. Means from the birth, from the childhood only, the children should be taught about the Nazi values. All mothers were not treated equally in Nazi Germany. Those who bore racially undesirable children were punished, and those who bore racially desirable children were aborted. इसका फर्क समझो क्या था बेटा. Those who bore racially undesirable children, जिनके बच्चे undesirable थे, जिन females के बच्चे undesirable होते थे, उनको punish किया जाता था, और जिनके बच्चे racially desirable होते थे, मतलब आर्यंस होते थे, आर्यन जात को लगते थे, उनको अवॉर्ड किया जाता था. अच्छा, अब देखो इस चीज़ को वुमेन को अपग्रेड करने के लिए, एनकरेज करने के लिए, अब एनकरेजमेंट किस चीज़ का था? टू एनकरेज वुमेन टू गिव बर्थ्स टू मोर चिल्ड्रन. वो जितने ज़्यादा उनके बच्चे होंगे उतना उनको रिवॉर्ड मिलेगा, उतना ज़्यादा उनको एनकरेजमेंट मिलेगी. ऑनर क्रॉसेस वर गिवन. अ ब्रॉन्ज क्रॉस फॉर 4 चिल्ड्रन. अगर किसी फीमेल के 4 बच्चे हैं तो उसको ब्रॉन्ज क्रॉस मिलेगा, 6 बच्चे हैं तो सिल्वर मिलेगा, और जिसके 8, if a lady is having 8 or more, then she will be getting a gold. See, it was a kind of competition which have been created. Bronze for 4 children, silver for 6, and gold for 8 or more. The Aryan women who married the Jews, Poles and Russians were paraded through the town. अच्छा, ऐसी आर्यन वुमेन्स जो किसी जीव से पोल से या रशियन से शादी करती थी, उनको सोसाइटी से बाहर कर दिया जाता था. उनके पहले उनको उनके बाल साफ कर दिए जाते थे. देवर शेव्ड हेड्स, ब्लैक एंड फेसेस, चेहरा काला कर दिए, बाल छील दिए जाते थे, चेहरा काला कर दिया जाता था. एंड उनको एक प्लकार्ड उनके गले में टांग दिया जाता था, अनाउंसिंग आई हैव सलिड द ऑनर ऑफ द नेशन. मैंने देश के ऑनर के साथ खिलवाड़ किया है. मैनी रिसीव्ड जेल सेंटेंसेस, और कईयों को इसके चक्कर में जेल भी जाना पड़ा. So now all these points were in detail. Now let's talk in a bit in brief. Men and women are different. This was first Nazi ideology. हम लोग देश में क्या सिखाते हैं? All men are and women are equal. There should be no discrimination. But in Germany, men and women are different. This was the first Nazi ideology taught to the children. There was no question of giving women equal rights with men. Women had to be good mothers and rear pure-blooded Aryan children. Boys had to be masculine, aggressive, man of steel, but women could not be so. जिस तरह का लड़का होगा उस तरह की लड़की नहीं होनी चाहिए. मीन्स द बॉय शुड बी मैस्कुलिन, मजबूत हो, गुस्सैल हो, और एकदम उसकी बॉडी जो है स्टील की तरह हार्ड हो. लेकिन फीमेल्स, लड़कियों का ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. इफ़ दे वुड इट वुड डिस्ट्रॉय सोसाइटी. अगर फीमेल्स ऐसी होंगी तो क्या होगा? सोसाइटी जो है, जो समाज है, वो खराब होगा. गर्ल्स हैड टू कीप अवे फ्रॉम द जीव्स, लुक आफ्टर देयर होम्स and raise children with respect and firm belief in Nazi principles. Their role was to perpetuate the pure Aryan race and culture. Though Hitler claimed in 1933 that women were the most important citizens of his state. 1933 में हिटलर ने एक स्टेटमेंट दिया था जिसके तहत उन्होंने कहा था कि हमारे देश में वुमेन्स की, महिलाओं की एक अपनी अलग पहचान है, ये हमारे देश के लिए बहुत आवश्यक वस्तु है. इन प्रैक्टिस वुमेन वर नॉट ट्रीटेड वेल. ये तो स्टेटमेंट था, बट इन रियल प्रैक्टिस दिस वॉज नॉट द कंडीशन. इन रियल टर्म्स दिस वॉज नॉट द कंडीशन. ओनली दोज वुमेन वर रिवॉर्डेड हु प्रोड्यूस्ड डिजायरेबल चिल्ड्रन. See this point. Only those women were rewarded who produced desirable children. They were rewarded, given favored treatment in hospitals. तो उन लोगों को बेनिफिट्स कहाँ कहाँ मिलता था? हॉस्पिटल में, दुकानों पे कंसेशन मिलता था, पिक्चर हॉल में, थिएटर्स में टिकट्स पे कंसेशन था, रेलवे के किराए में कंसेशन था. मतलब देखो किन किन एरियाज में हॉस्पिटल्स, कंसेशंस इन शॉप्स, टिकट्स टू थिएटर्स एंड रेलवे फेयर्स. Honor crosses were given to women who produced many children. A bronze cross for 4 children, silver for 6 and gold for 8 or more. Just see what kind of rewards were being given. मतलब जैसे नहीं होता है कि जैसे हम लोग क्या कि कोई 100 मीटर या किसी रेस में फर्स्ट आता है तो उसको गोल्ड मिलता है, बट यहाँ पे कंडीशन एकदम दूसरी थी, अपोजिट. Women who produced racially undesirable children were punished. Aryan women who did not follow the prescribed code of conduct were condemned and severely punished. Punishment for keeping contact with Jews, Poles and Russians was shaved heads, blackened faces, placards hung round the neck stating, I have sullied the honor of the nation, and then paraded through the town. देखो उनके बाल साफ कर दिए गए, उसके बाद उनका चेहरा काला कर दिया गया, उनके एक प्लकार्ड टाक दिया जाता था जिस पे लिखा रहता था आई हैव सलिड द ऑनर ऑफ द नेशन, और उनको फिर पूरे शहर में घूमना पड़ता था. कई वुमेन्स को उठा के जेल में डाल दिया था. लॉस्ट देयर हस्बैंड्स एंड फैमिलीज फॉर द अबव ऑफेंसेस. कोई भी ऐसा करता था उनको इस टाइप की प्रॉब्लम्स झेलनी पड़ती थी. नाउ लेट्स मूव टू द अदर टॉपिक. माय अदर टॉपिक इज द आर्ट ऑफ प्रोपेगेंडा. थोड़ा सा इसको हम ब्रीफ में पहले बात कर लेते हैं. Nazis used language and media with care and often to great effect will be clear from the following points. My first point is they never use the words kill or murder in their official communications. जब भी ये लोग ऑफिशियल कम्युनिकेशन होते थे उसमें दो शब्दों का इस्तेमाल नहीं होता था, ईदर किल और मर्डर, ईदर किल और मर्डर. मास किलिंग्स वर टर्म्ड एज स्पेशल ट्रीटमेंट. समझो, जब थोक के भाव में बहुत बड़े लोगों को मारना है, बहुत ज़्यादा लोगों को मारना है, मास किलिंग्स वर टर्म्ड एज स्पेशल ट्रीटमेंट. फाइनल सोल्यूशन फॉर द जीव्स. फाइनल सोल्यूशन मतलब जीव्स के लिए यूज किया जाता था, मतलब दी एंड कर दो उनका. इथवानेसिया फॉर द डिसेबल्ड. सिलेक्शन एंड डिसइंफेक्शंस. इवैक्यूएशन मीन्स डिपोर्टिंग पीपल टू गैस चैम्बर्स. इवैक्यूएशन का मतलब समझो. इवैक्यूएशन मेंट डिपोर्टिंग पीपल टू गैस चैम्बर्स. द गैस चैम्बर्स वर कॉल्ड एज डिसइंफेक्शन एरियाज. Just think what a good name was given. Gas chambers को किस नाम से जाना जाता था? Disinfection areas. Now let's talk a bit in detail. The Nazis had mastered the art of propaganda to perfection. With chilling perfection, every term was chosen. They used newspapers, radio, wireless, in short, the entire media very carefully to influence not only the Germans but the world opinion. मतलब अखबारों का, रेडियो का, जितनी भी चीज़ों का इस्तेमाल किया जाता था वो बहुत तरीके से इस्तेमाल होता था. वेरी केयरफुली, बहुत ध्यान से उसका यूज़ किया जाता था, सो दैट दे कैन इन्फ्लुएंस नॉट ओनली द जर्मन्स, की उनकी बातों से, उनके सब चीज़ों से केवल जर्मन्स इन्फ्लुएंस ना हो लेकिन वर्ल्ड का ओपिनियन भी बदल जाए. कैची स्लोगन. जो स्लोगन्स होते थे बड़े कैची होते थे. पोस्टर्स, लीफलेट्स वर यूज्ड टू पिन पॉइंट द एनिमीज. मतलब किसी, अगर आपके एनिमी को पिन पॉइंट करना है तो स्लोगन्स बना दिए, पोस्टर्स कर लिए, लीफलेट्स कर लिए. तो ये तरीके उनके थे ऑफ द जर्मन स्टेट्स एंड दीज पोर्ट्रेट द एनिमीज. और ये लोग एनिमी, अपने जो दुश्मन होते थे उसको एकदम एविल के फॉर्म में दिखाते थे. नाउ प्रोपेगेंडा फिल्म्स वर मेड टू कंडेम सोशलिस्ट्स, liberals and spread hatred for the Jews. प्रोपेगेंडा फिल्म्स बनाई जाती थी और उस फिल्म्स का मकसद जो होता था वो पैसा कमाना नहीं होता था. उन फिल्म्स का जो मेन मकसद होता था वो थी नफरत क्रिएट करना. फॉर द सोशलिस्ट, फॉर द लिबरल्स एंड फॉर द जीव्स. Jews were always portrayed in films as men with flowing beards and wearing kaftans. The best example is the film Eternal Jew. In reality, a German Jew could not be distinguished from other Germans. देखो सच्चाई क्या है, कोई भी जर्मन जीव होता है उसको हम लोग डिस्टिंग्विश नहीं कर सकते. मतलब कोई डिफ्रेंसिएशन नहीं होता है, चाहे वो जर्मन का जीव हो चाहे दूसरे देश का जीव हो. All are same. They were always referred to in derogatory terms like vermins, rats and pests. जो जीव्स होते थे उनके लिए किन शब्दों का यूज होता था? जस्ट पे अटेंशन. वर्मिन्स, VERMINS, रैट्स एंड पेस्ट्स, PESTS. जस्ट थिंक व्हाट काइंड ऑफ लैंग्वेज वाज बीइंग यूज्ड फॉर द जीव. किस तरह की भाषा, कितनी गलत शब्दों का इस्तेमाल किया जाता था. मतलब उन इंसानों को एकदम जानवर के रूप में माना जाता था. नाइज़म tried to poison the minds of the people. और नाइज़म का मेन मुद्दा क्या था? नाइज़म का मेन टारगेट था कि लोगों के दिमाग में एकदम जहर भर दिया जाए कि उनकी जो नफरत है, उनकी नफरत जो है वो अनडिजायरेबल्स मतलब जीव्स, उनके साथ उनकी नफरत बढ़ती जाए. द नाजीज मेड एन ऑल आउट एफर्ट टू विन ओवर एवरी सेक्शन ऑफ द जर्मन सिटीजन्स. नाजीज ने अपनी तरफ से पूरी कोशिश करी कि जितने भी सोसाइटी के सेक्शंस हैं, ग्रुप्स हैं, उन सबको वो अपने फेवर में कर ले. दे पोर्ट्रेड देमसेल्व्स एज द ओनली सेवियर्स ऑफ जर्मनी. नाजीज ने इस तरह शो किया कि अगर जर्मनी को कोई बचा सकता है, अगर जर्मनी का कोई रक्षक है तो वो सिर्फ नाजीज हैं, वही लोग हैं. दे अलोन कुड सॉल्व देयर प्रॉब्लम्स एंड द अदर इंटेंशन वॉज दैट द नाजीज वर ओनली हैविंग द पावर टू सॉर्ट आउट द प्रॉब्लम्स. सिर्फ वही एक ऐसे लोग हैं जो सारी दिक्कतों का समाधान कर सकते हैं. नाउ What was the reaction of ordinary people and the crimes against humanity? Now, in short, the following points. Now, short में तुम लोग मैं इसके points बता देता हूँ. The following points help to understand the reaction of common people to Nazism. पहला point, many Germans saw the world through Nazi eyes and spoke their mind in Nazi language. होता है ना कि जो चीज़ें हम लोग देखते हैं, हमारी आंखें जो देखती हैं, हमारी आंखें वही देखती हैं जो हम देखना चाहते हैं और दिमाग वही सोचता है जो हमें पसंद आता है, जो हम देखते हैं. That was all the Nazi language. Their hatred and anger automatically rose when they saw a Jew. They marked the house of Jews and reported about suspicious neighbors. Genuinely, they believed Nazism would bring prosperity and improve general well-being. However, not all Germans favored Nazism. Some of them organized active resistance to Nazism, braving police repression and death. लेकिन जो सबसे ज़्यादा मेजॉरिटी थी जर्मन्स की, were too scared to act, to differ to or to protest. Pastor Niemöller, a resistance fighter, observed an absence of protest and uncanny silence amongst ordinary Germans in the face of brutal and organized crimes committed against people in the Nazi Empire. In simple language, if I say, then the meaning of this line is that at the time, the society, the Nazi Empire was very brutal and they were performing organized crimes, and these crimes were committed against people. Enough crimes were committed against the common people. The Jews lost their sense of dignity and self-respect. According to Charlotte Bernhardt, Jews themselves began believing in the Nazi stereotypes about them. और एक और चीज़ थी, जो नाजीज थे वो एक तरीके के स्टीरियोटाइप थे. स्टीरियोटाइप होता है मतलब जब हम एक ही पाथ में, एक ही दिशा में केवल सोचते हैं. अब जो हिटलर की या जो नाजीज की जो थिंकिंग थी, दैट वाज टोटली स्टीरियोटाइप अबाउट द जीव्स एंड ड्रीम्ड दैट दे हैड हुक्ड नोजेस, ब्लैक हेयर एंड आइज. और उनकी नफरत इतनी ज़्यादा थी कि वो लोग जीव्स को हर चीज़ के लिए, फॉर ईच एंड एवरी नेगेटिव एलिमेंट, the Jews were only responsible according to the Hitler or the Nazis stereotyped. Now, there were two different groups of ordinary. हर चीज़ के दो groups होते हैं. There were two different groups of ordinary people. The victims of Nazi crimes suffered in silence as they had nowhere to go and no one to seek help from. देखो, जो विक्टिम्स थे जिन पे नाजीज अपना हुक्म चला रहे थे, जो सफरर थे, वो शांत हो गए थे. वाई? उनके पास कोई ऐसी जगह नहीं थी वो कहीं जा सके, कहीं जाएंगे तो मारे जाएंगे, और कोई ऐसा था भी नहीं जिससे वो सहायता की उम्मीद कर सके. अच्छा, दूसरी तरफ ये तो सफरर्स थे और दूसरी तरफ द सपोर्टर्स. द सपोर्टर्स ऑफ नाजीज वर टोटली अफेक्टेड बाय द नाजी प्रोपेगेंडा. दे सॉ एवरी एक्ट थ्रू नाजी आईज and spoke in the Nazi language. They hated the Jews and vent their anger on them. एक होता है ना, आप किसी चीज़ से चिढ़ते हैं, आपको किसी चीज़ से प्रॉब्लम है, और जब आपको मौका मिलेगा, मतलब कि आप एक मौके की तलाश में हैं कि आपको मौका मिले और आप उन जीव्स का नुकसान कर सके, अपना गुस्सा निकाल सके. They reported against the Jews even though they had been neighbors for years. सालों से एक साथ रह रहे थे. They had been neighbors for years. They marked the Jewish houses. They believed every word of the Nazis and really and truly thought only Nazism could make Germany a great nation. लोगों का उस समय ये विश्वास हो गया था कि सिर्फ नाजीज़म ही है, नाजी पार्टी ही है जो हमारे देश को एक महान बना सकती है. But not every German was a Nazi. There were many who protested against the Nazi. लेकिन उस देश में ऐसे भी लोग थे जो नाजी पार्टी का विरोध करते थे. लेकिन जो मैक्सिमम लोग थे, मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द जर्मन्स वर पैसिव ऑनलुकर्स एंड एक्टेड एज विटनेसेस. दे वर स्केयर्ड टू एक्ट एंड प्रोटेक्ट ओपनली. देखो उस समय लोगों की मजबूरी क्या थी. जितने भी लोग थे, मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द जर्मन्स जो थे, वो सिर्फ उसको ध्यान से देख रहे थे, सिर्फ उसको देख सकते थे, उसको विटनेस कर सकते थे, लेकिन वो डरे हुए थे कि अगर कोई भी प्रोटेस्ट करेगा, कोई भी विरोध करेगा उसका, तो उसका कत्लेआम हो जाएगा. दैट वुड बी द एंड ऑफ हिज लाइफ. When the Jews felt is another story. Even they were affected by the propaganda against them. According to a writer, Charlotte Bernard, they were haunted by the dreams of hooked noses, black hair and eyes, Jewish looks and body movement. She published a book called The 30 Rich of Dreams. She described how Jews began believing the stereotype about themselves. The Jews died many deaths before going to the gas chambers. और उनको मारने का तरीका भी क्या था. मतलब गैस चैम्बर में भेजने से पहले, गैस चैम्बर समझो क्या होता है, जैसे पूरी तरह कहीं पर गैस भरी और आपको उसमें फेंक दिया जाए, आपको उसमें अंदर डाल दिया जाए, उसके बाद आप बच नहीं सकते हो. दैट वॉज द कंडीशन. और उससे पहले इतना ज़्यादा टॉर्चर हो रहा था. इनफ टॉर्चर वॉज देयर फॉर द पीपल. नाउ लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट. माई नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज, how did the world learn about the Holocaust? अब ये एक वर्ड यूज हुआ है, Holocaust. ये होता क्या? Holocaust, the state sponsored mass murder. Just remember this point. Holocaust means the state sponsored mass murder was a horrible incident to be forgotten by the Jews. जो Holocaust था, the Holocaust was the systematic, bureaucratic, state-sponsored persecution and murder of 6 million Jews. Just remember the term, murder of 6 million Jews by Nazi regime and its collaborators. The Jews wanted the world to know about the atrocities and sufferings. The word atrocities means difficulties, pains, sorrows, sufferings that they had endured. जितने भी दुख दर्द Jews ने सहे थे, वो चाहते थे कि that the entire world should know. So they spread knowledge about their plight in the following manner. Every sufferer wanted to live for a short time after Germany's defeat, just to tell the world about her sufferings. Many diaries have been found in ghetto and camps written by the Jews, describing their condition. The history of Holocaust lives on in memoirs, fiction, documentaries, poetry, memorials and museums in many parts of the world today. मतलब जो Jews थे उनको इतना ज़्यादा प्रताड़ित किया गया था. They were so much tortured that they wanted कि जर्मनी हारने के बाद अगर हम जीवित रहते तो हमें अपने दुख बयान करने का, we will get an opportunity to show to the world that what kind of difficulties we have suffered from. So let's talk about how did the world learn about the Holocaust. Knowledge of what was happening in Hitler's Germany did trickle out during the last years of Nazi rule. In spite of strict censorship, the rest of the world did hear some stories of atrocities. But the real knowledge of the horrors came when Germany was defeated in the Second World War. इसका असली मजा तब आया जब Second World War में जर्मनी हार गया. The Jews wanted the world to know and remember the sufferings and the inhuman acts they had endured during the Nazi killings. The one also called the Holocaust, और इस चीज़ को हम Holocaust भी कहते हैं, HOLOCAUST. Okay, कुछ Jews ऐसे थे, some Jews wanted to be alive, वो जिंदा रहना चाहते थे, only to tell the world their miseries. और मकसद क्या था उनका जिंदा रहने का, कि वो अपनी जो उनके दुख हैं, जो उनकी परेशानियां थी, वो जनता को, दुनिया को बता सकें. Many Jews wrote diaries, kept notebooks, and created archives even when they were struggling to survive in concentration camps. It speaks volumes for their courage and indomitable spirit. The Nazis tried to destroy all incriminating evidence after they had lost the war. Yet the world has enough evidence to the memory of the Holocaust. The memory of the Holocaust is preserved in memoirs, documentaries, memorials, and museums of the world. It lives in the poetry and works of fiction. Now, they serve three purposes. इन सब के तीन पर्पस है. पहला, they are a tribute to those who resisted such horrors. ये एक ट्रिब्यूट है उन लोगों के लिए जो उस समय रहे थे, जिन्होंने इन चीज़ों को झेला. They are a stigma and embarrassing reminder to those who joined hands with the Nazis in their brutal acts, and a warning to those who watched in silence. So these are the main terms. Now let's talk about just in a short recapitulation I will do, and then after we I'll come into the multiple choice questions. Now, one word I would like to speak, that is Holocaust. What does it mean? A state-sponsored genocide by the Nazi Germany against the Jews and other deemed as undesirable. Now, one more word I have used, that was memorial. MEMORIAL. On your screen you can see the second last line, memorials, it is written. One word is memorial. The word means a historical account or biography written from personal knowledge. Now in short, if I say about this chapter, the main points are: people also reacted to the ideologies of Nazis. The feeling of hatred and discontent grew against the Jews. Not every German thought like a Nazi, but they were too scared to act. Information about Nazi Germany spread to the other parts of the world in the last years of the regime. Holocaust, the state-sponsored mass murder, was a horrible incident to be forgotten by the Jews. Many films, diaries, novels were written to highlight the atrocities done by the Nazis on the Jews and other considered as degenerates. Now certain important dates are there, timeline is there. 18th century, Rapid Industrial Revolution, 1914, Hitler moved to Munich. 1917, Russian communists, followers of Marxism, challenge social democracy. 1919, Weimar Republic established in Germany, Treaty of Versailles. 1923, Germany suffers the worst inflation. Hitler joins Munich uprising. 1924, first win for the Nazis. 1929 to 1933, it was the period of the Great Depression. 1932, Nazi emerged as the single largest party. 1933, Hindenburg, the German president, appoints Hitler as the chancellor. 1934, Hitler seizes power, becomes dictator after the death of Hindenburg. 1939, World plunged into World War II. And May 1945, suicide by Hitler, fall of Berlin. So all these activities have taken place during that time. Now children, are you ready for the MCQ? Just send me fast. Are you ready for the MCQ? Okay children, now let's check out our knowledge. First, in short, you can see this. First World War begins August 1, 1914, November 5. All the details have been given. Now let's move to the MCQ part. The first question is, what gave Nazi state its reputation as the most dreaded criminal state? The question would be visible in a short span of time, and all the children, Abhishek, Kovid, Prithvi and Priyansh, should be giving the answer. Till the time I am reading the question, hear it. Who gave Nazi state its reputation as the most dreaded criminal state? Option A. Extra constitutional powers were given to the newly organized forces like Gestapo, the SS and SD. Option B. People could be detained in Gestapo torture chambers and sent to concentration camps. Option C. No legal procedures were there for the arrested people. And option D. All the above. Send your answers fast so at least we can revive 5-6 questions at least. Yes, Priyansh, I am waiting for others' answers. Okay children, so the answer for this question is option D, all the above. The correct answer is option D, that's all the above. Now children, let's move to the next question. My next question is, the correct answer was option D. Now let's move to the other question. Which incident persuaded the USA to join the war? Option A. Hitler's attack on Eastern Europe. Option B. Hitler's policy of genocide of the Jews. Option C. Helplessness of England and France. Option D. Japan's attack on the US base at Pearl Harbor. Four options are there. Just read the options very carefully and answer them. I want answer from all the candidates. It's Abhishek, Kovid, Priyansh, Abhishek, Okay, Priyansh has sent the answer. Option C. Okay, other people? Abhishek, COVID? Send your answer fast. Priyansh, once more read the question and the options. Just read it once more, then give the answer. Oh children, the correct answer for this question is option D. Japan's attack on the US base at Pearl Harbor. उससे पहले यूएस से एंट्री नहीं कर रहा था, लेकिन जब जापान ने अटैक किया यूएस के बेस पर्ल हार्बर पे, दैट एरिया, ये ऐसी जगह थी जहां पे अमेरिका के पूरे शिप्स रहते थे. सो आफ्टर दिस इवेंट, आफ्टर दिस इंसिडेंट, यूएस entered into the war. Now let's move to the other question. Now the other question is, which incident led to the start of World War II? Option A, Germans invasion of Switzerland, German invasion of Poland, Russian invasion of Germany, Japan's sinking of ship at Pearl Harbor. Now the question would be visible. Okay, good Priyansh. Your answer is correct. That is, correct answer is option B. That is German invasion of Poland. Good. Now the next question. The next question, I'm just doing, it would be visible on your screen soon. The question is, according to the Nazis, which people were to be regarded as desirable? Pure and healthy Nordic Aryans, German soldiers who helped in territorial expansion, option C, German police of different types, and option D, all those who were willing to consider Hitler as God. The question would be visible on your screen. Just see to it. Yes, now it's visible. Just think about the answer. Okay, Priyansh, let's check out the answer. Yes, your answer is correct. That is pure and healthy Nordic Aryans. Let's move to the other question. The other question would be on your screen soon. The question is, what was the destination of all undesirables of the German Empire called? Option A, land of undesirables. Option B, cursed land. Option C, general government. And option D, land for the abnormals. Yes, now you can see the answer on your screen, options on your screen. Yes, Priyansh, you have sent me the option C. Yes, that's the correct answer. That is general government. Good. Correct answers are being given by you. The next question is again, which of these were the reasons of Nazi hatred of the Jews? Option A, Jews had been stereotyped as killers of Christ. Option B, they were usurers, that is moneylenders. Option C, the Jews had always cheated the Nazis. And option D, both A and B. Okay, Priyansh, let's check the answer. Yes, your answer is very correct. Option D, both A and B. Now the next question. The next question is, when did the Second World War come to an end? When did the Second World War came to an end? January 1944, May 1945, June 1946 and August 1947. Okay, let's check out the answer. The correct answer is option B, that is May 1945. Now let's move to the other question, the last question for today. And the last question for today is, what was Nazi ideology with regard to school children? Option A, he believed that education of children was not necessary. Option B, a control should be kept over children both inside and outside the school. Option C, all children should be regarded as equal. And option D, none of the above. This is the last question. Give me the answer. Yes, Priyansh, give the answer fast. Okay, Priyansh, your option is A. But sorry, Priyansh, the correct answer is option B. A control should be kept over children both inside and outside school. Option B. is the correct option. Okay, Priyansh, for today this much only. We'll meeting in the next class.